The Mountain is gonna box a guy, another juicehead named Eddie Hall. Did you guys hear about this? Do you have the backstory? So the Mountain, I have the foggiest idea what his name is, but he was a character in the Game of Thrones, and he was known as the Mountain. I was more familiar with him. He came through the Straight Blast gym and walked in one day and started sparring with Connor. And it was more like they were playing around, but, I don't think either one of them wanted to lose, even if they were playing around. But just a mountain of a man. 6'9", 450 pounds. So the Mountain goes out and he breaks the world deadlift record. It was over 1,000 pounds that he lifted. Whatever it was, he breaks the record, and he takes the record from Eddie Hall. Well, Eddie Hall doesn't like it and doesn't agree with it because it wasn't in sanctioned competition or something along these lines, and therefore he doesn't think he should have to lose the record, of which point Eddie is right. He is right. You have to do it within competition. Every sport is that way. But the Mountain went and took the credit, and the media gave him the credit, so Eddie got a little pissed off. Anyway, they have a back-and-forth session, and now they are going to go and box each other in Las Vegas. Fine. Go ahead. It's going to be the biggest boxing fight of all time, and by biggest, I don't mean draw-wise. I mean the most weight combined of two athletes that have ever had a sanctioned fight, apparently, in the history of boxing. This is a headline I've read, not something I looked into, and not something that I will ever look into, but I accepted it, and there's the story. I want to see that fight. Whatever the rules are, I imagine that's a 4-round contest, and they both find out that Dynaball doesn't really help you in boxing, and it goes about 30 seconds. But either way, I will stop what I'm doing and check that out. I will. And if you take that in conjunction with the fact that the biggest fight that has happened in a meaningful period of time, and I'm throwing out Fury, and I'm throwing Wilder, throwing those guys out, was one of the Paul brothers against a guy named KSI. Okay? If you look at those things together, with the fact that Dana and Bob Arum just got in an argument, and Dana simply told him, you ruined the sport of boxing, not to mention your own company. It's very hard to imagine that statement isn't true. The fact that the boxing match that I am most looking forward to is Eddie Hall versus a guy named The Mountain, and the biggest boxing match that happened, which includes outdoing in numbers Triple G versus Canelo. Are you guys aware of this? Triple G and Canelo fought one weekend. They did great numbers. The very next weekend, one of the Paul brothers, there's two of them, I haven't got the foggiest idea who's, one of the Paul brothers took out a guy named KSI. They beat the Triple G Alvarez numbers, of which was a great number. If you look at those things in conjunction, it sounds like Dana's right.